What's up, man?
Blue hair, don't care.
Blue
Still
hair
here.
don't care?
Well, I mean, I'm near the end of my, what do we want to call this? My hiatus of infection of COVID-19.
Oh, man. We were talking about that earlier. And I'm happy to hear you're doing well and you're in good spirits, Ira.
Doing as best as possible, man. It's definitely a weird thing to deal with.
Well, you're here. You made it. As always, every Sunday on Blast, 6 o'clock. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Ira James. We couldn't do it without him. For anyone that's watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you go follow to show some love.
Absolutely follow us. Follow us and like us.
Yes, you gotta like us. You gotta follow us because, believe it or not, if you don't have the likes and you don't have the follows these days, Ira, I mean, you might as well not exist.
Yeah, well, I actually got a challenge for our viewers, man. So let's, you see, I have a new an affinity to the TikTok videos. So
Okay.
my challenge to everybody is this: I would like to see everybody's best impressions of us on TikTok.
Of us.
Absolutely.
Ira,
I know Nick is gonna have a field day with this.
You're spending far too much time on TikTok. I'm worried.
It's literally all I do.
TikTok?
Yep, TikTok.
It's very addicting, I have to say.
I mean, look, when you're stuck in a house, you're stuck in a house. Like, I took that shit seriously.
Yeah, I was just watching a video about the cruise lines last night, and how the cruise lines at the beginning of the beginning of the pandemic last year, cruise lines were, people were like obviously stuck on these cruises.
Oh yeah.
And like, we could laugh about that and like it was ironic looking at it, like, like you're stuck on this cruise, like how bad could it be?
Yeah.
But watching these people, they're stuck on these fucking cruises, man, in these small rooms
for months.
It's fucking wild. I'd have lost my mind. So here you are, COVID, and 2 weeks into a quarantine, and I don't know how you're doing it, man. I would have lost my friggin' mind.
Well, I mean, like I said, I discovered TikTok. I discovered TikTok and Xbox.
Oh yeah, what's the favorite game on Xbox, Ira?
Oh, Grand Theft Auto, punching cars. Come on, man. You know that's all I do.
Well, you better watch out with the way that things are going these days. But Grand Theft Auto might be banned pretty soon.
Seriously?
Dude, we got people
No.
that are.
No
look,
fucking way.
I emphasize for anyone and how anyone feels about things, but this is how I feel and solely how I feel. I was reading an article about Mr. Potato Head. And Mr. Potato Head has, for the longest time, since I was younger, been Mr. Potato Head. And they're talking about all these different things and how we should identify and yada, yada, yada. Frankly, again, I don't care how anyone does whatever, but I personally don't believe in that. Mr. Potato Head is supposed to be Mr. Potato Head. So while we're on the topic of Grand Theft Auto, it wouldn't surprise me if they pulled the plug on that sometime soon.
Well, I mean, with the direction that they're trying to, but I mean, there's gonna come a time where enough is enough, and it's getting there. It's getting there.
The straw that broke the camel's back. Are we there yet? I mean, when will we be there?
I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know. We just gotta sit back and watch.
Yeah, I mean, we could either watch or we could play our part, which is big in the grand scheme of things. I don't think people realize that. Which leads me to our topic for today, sir. Ira. First and foremost, I'm in a tank top because next week it is 60 degrees out, and I'm pumped. That's all that matters. It's going to be 60 degrees. Ira, what are you going to do with 60-degree weather? You're going to be out of quarantine by next week, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I'll probably run around outside naked in the 60 degrees. Like, yay!
Naked?
Why not?
I used to do that on New Year's Eve when I was a little kid with pots and pans running down the street.
Oh, I used to do that in hurricanes with a big metal spoon.
What? Why?
Oh, you didn't do that?
Hurricanes? What?
I thought all kids did that.
What the fuck Anyway, leading.
No. This is a story. This is a good story because back in 1993 we had a fucking terrible ass. Before Sandy, this storm was the worst storm in history, and I mean it decimated Florida. It was Hurricane Andrew, and here I am. I'm running up and down the street with a giant metal spoon, trying to catch lightning during the middle of a fucking hurricane.
93, Ira, you're showing your age.
Hey.
I wasn't a twinkle in my mother's eye yet. 93.
I was like 10 or 11 or 12 years old, something like that.
Well, that is a first for me. I've never heard of anything like that, Ira, but you are who you are for this reason, so we wouldn't want you to be anyone else. Anyway, Ira, you sent me a quote at the beginning of the week, and it sat with me all week. We talked about it on the phone earlier, and I need to know where I need to know where your head is at with it, because we spoke again earlier, and I think everybody can relate to this. This quote is so relatable. It is so big, and I feel like people don't even realize the weight that this quote has. So I'm going to read it off to you. Who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. So again, who you are becoming is more important than who you have been. What does that mean to you, Ira? What is it? What is it about that quote? Because
you could pull that apart, man.
You sent that to me. Please pull it apart, dissect it.
I mean, both of us can. Easy.
So let's dissect it. So let's start with the beginning. Who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. How many people live in the past? Let's start there.
Well, and if we're gonna start there, I want to say it's normal behavior to, focus on the past a lot, because that's how a lot of us ended up growing up, looking back, and what I think is important in, the whole scheme of things is, just to look back on shit, but, keep it moving forward.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and live back here when you have all this in front of you.
I think we have different people in this world. I think we have people that are constantly living in the past, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have people that are constantly living in the future, thinking about the future. And when I think of that quote, man, I think what it really means is a lot of people are living in the past. And I think for me, since we're on blast, I'll give you guys the goods first and foremost, exclusive to the On Blast podcast. I dated a girl, Kayla Buckstein. Okay. Many years ago. Yeah, I'm giving you the goods here. I dated Kayla many years ago. I loved her. She was phenomenal to me. Okay. She treated me, oh my God, unbelievable. I made her life hell. Okay, I was this shithead kid. I didn't know anything. I didn't care about anything, and I was just this young guy, just like spinning out of control. And Kayla dealt with it through thick and thin. Now, what they didn't realize at that age, that was a really transformative age for me. I looked up to Kayla's dad because my dad wasn't really in the picture all too much, and I really did look up to this guy, Eric. And I remember showing up to the house one day. We were poor. We had no money. And, my mom was busy with my grandma and stuff at the time. And I'll never forget, and this is something that really stuck with me. I showed up to the house and we were going to like dinner or something. I showed up in sweatpants.
Oh, jeez.
And Eric looks at me like I am scum on the fucking earth. He looks at me, man. I'm this young guy, okay? I don't fucking know, man. I showed up in sweatpants. They said, we're coming to get you, whatever. I was like, okay, and, I showed up in sweatpants, and he looked at me, and he said something along the lines of, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay.
Right?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't he?
Well, yeah, quick to judge, but looking back on it, dude, okay, this was such a transformative time for me when he said that to me. Again, here I am, 25, and that's something I think of very often. And I think, and it stuck with me. I'm like, man, am I a piece of shit? Am I a dirtbag? Am I a loser? Am I a whatever? It's something that I definitely think about all the time. So I'm constantly living in the past. And that situation is just one of dozens and dozens and dozens that I know everyone can certainly relate to on some different level. You know, having someone you look up to, he didn't know it. He had no fucking idea that I looked up to him. He just saw me as his shithead daughter's boyfriend, right? But I looked up to him, and he kicked me while I was down one day before dinner, and I never recovered from that. You know, that was something that seriously hurt me and hurt my confidence as a young man. But that my point is, you know, living in that past, and you have to be able to get over that shit. You know, you have to, and you have to be able to live in that now moment of like, hey, okay, he said what he said, but like, you know, why dwell on it, right?
Yep.
Why fucking dwell on it?
I mean, seriously, if you're gonna dwell, what good is the dwelling doing for you?
It killed me. The dwelling? The dwelling.
Yeah, it doesn't do no good. It does literally fucking no good. It just keeps you stuck, like you're stuck in mud, you know. Yeah. And you want to move forward. You have every intention to move forward, but you haven't faced that, gotten through it, came to terms with it to be able to go forward. So you're holding yourself back.
I said it to you on the phone before, Ira. I think the biggest fucking mistake you can make is not acknowledging that is a problem. You know, you have to acknowledge your past, right?
Yep.
So who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. You have to acknowledge your past. I've seen more people in my life that won't acknowledge it. And I acknowledge that was a traumatic experience for me, you know, because I loved Kayla to death, and her dad was someone I looked up to. And he, you know, he took that for granted. But frankly, he did something that I probably would have done myself, you know, in that moment. I wouldn't have thought like, oh, this little punk ass kid. But not acknowledging your past can have devastating effects where you have to, even if it sucks. Like, I have more stories of shit that sucks from the past, but like, who would I be if I just lived in the past?
That's a good question. Who do you think you would be?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I might lose my mind. I'd be in the funny house.
Probably.
Right?
I mean,
what about you?
I'd probably be back in prison.
Well, Ira, you've been through the ringer yourself, man.
Oh yeah, I definitely would have been in prison if I didn't work on who I needed to become. I was gonna forever be doomed to who I was.
That's that kills me. That kills me. I can't imagine, you know, being stuck in that you know, that very thought. Right?
Well, the thing is I acknowledge, you know, and it's funny, like, with being that we're talking about sharing stories, you know, and this couldn't have happened at a better time. And I believe in signs, and this is definitely a sign, because, all right, my girlfriend, when she woke up this morning, she woke up to a barrage of text messages from a girl that claims knows me, claims I know her, and I can't put my finger on it. More than likely it was somebody, you know, in the past, you know, acting like they know me, but they really don't. The thing is, though, is the point that I'm making is what she woke up to was somebody really trashing my name. Like, he's a fucking loser. Do you know how many times he's been arrested? You know, he's had gang activity. He's done this. He's done that. Like, just going on and on and on. And at the very end of it, she blocks her, so she can't even respond. And so when I'm talking to her this morning, you know, she shows me the messages, and I'm looking at it, and I just laugh at myself. You know, because once upon a time, I would have gotten so pissed off reading all that stuff. I would have been mortally, you know, I can't even get the word.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be breaking shit. But now, it's all true. That's the thing. All of it's true. I can't get mad at what's true. but I've gotten past what is true. You know, and like I said, it couldn't come at a better time, because here's somebody that is stuck in the past, judging me for who I was, and still thinking that I'm still that same person. What does that tell you about that person?
Ooh, that is, oh yeah. No, you bring up, dude, that's a great point. You nailed that one on the head, Ira. My here. With that being said, it happens all the time for me, man, and I know it happens for other people, and I see it happening to other people. I know people that have dealt with addiction, or they were had an abusive parent or something, and you'll see someone come along and kick them, and it's like, I'm not that person anymore, though. That's not my fault, or I had no control over the way that this person's going to fucking act. So and that's great, because that says something about your character. If you're going to come along and say, oh, hey, dickhead, are you still being an asshole these days? Like, now granted, the recidivism rate on people's ability to change is not good. Okay.
Yeah.
Change is not easy for a lot of people. Inherently, I understand that change is fucking scary to most people, and a lot of people just avoid it because they think that does something for them, which it doesn't. But that's you bring up a great point, and it really does say something about a person's character that would treat you like that, and you have to think about that little below the surface. You could have easily lost your shit and snapped or whatever, but
for what?
Yeah, for what? That's what I say. I got more people that are in my conversations like, who the fuck are you?
Well, no, this is actually, for me, I'm just sitting here like, if you only saw me now. Like, they don't
even deserve to see you now, though. They don't even fucking deserve it. And I say that to everybody, because there's people that go through some hard shit, and everyone deals with their own hard shit, man. Everyone. For me, I dealt with my own fucking insecurities and self-doubt, and the conversation and story about Kayla and her dad, and you dealt with prison, and this person this morning just coming out of the fucking woodworks. But there's people out there dealing with extreme uncertainty, and they don't know how to get past that. And my best advice is just try. Try, and if someone doesn't like who you are, and again, they don't deserve you, kind of deal. So let me see here. I got a comment. Rob. Oh, I haven't heard this name since high school. Would you still go out to eat in sweatpants with a guy you look up to? Honestly, yeah. Abso-fucking-lutely. Because I'm in my sweatpants right now, but I would take myself out to eat. I would sit with me at a fucking dinner table and enjoy it. But you have to understand, again, what's below the surface. What's going on in that person's head that they think it's appropriate to show up to dinner in sweatpants. I was a young kid, so my excuse was I was a young kid. I had no role models. And frankly, at the time, I probably wouldn't go out with someone in sweatpants. But now that I'm a little older, if I said to Ira, let's go get dinner, Ira, and Ira showed up in sweatpants for some bizarre fucking reason, me and Ira are going to dinner regardless, come hell or high water, because I'm not interested in what Ira's fucking attire is. It's not my thing. I don't care what Ira's, I don't care what Ira's dressed as, although I do appreciate Ira does have some great clothing choices for anyone that doesn't know. But yeah, I think if I were to, would I still go out to eat in sweatpants with a guy you look up to? I mean, if I was faced with that same situation today, it'd be a very different deck of cards that we'd be working with. 100%. 100%. All I can hear is the dogs barking in the background.
There's no dogs in my background.
Oh, is that in my head?
No, I hear it too.
No, it's Remy. Because Remy does this thing when he's like, oh, okay, Dad is going to do the podcast. Let me go bark for the next hour. And then when he's done with the podcast, I'll make sure I stop barking.
I'm actually surprised my ferrets aren't over here asking me to pick them up.
Where are the ferrets, Ira?
They're in their drawer.
So
Got 5 of them. 5.
5 ferrets?
5 ferrets.
I wonder what the audience thinks of your ferrets.
Hey, they're little floof noodles.
Floof noodles.
Yes.
So anyway, Ira, let's bring it back home to who you are becoming is more important than who you've been.
Well, I mean, I'm now becoming a floof noodle.
What is a floof noodle exactly?
So when people have a pet that is furry, it's their little floof.
Uh-huh.
And being that ferrets are long like noodles, floof noodle. Or a trash bandit.
Oh, Ira. I'm happy I got a chance to speak with you on the phone earlier. Because...
Well, I got tired of your incessant ignoring me this morning.
I wasn't ignoring you. Ira calls me, and I got a text from Ira, and this is so typical Ira. I got a text from Ira, and what did that text say? I don't know that it matters what the text said, but anyway, Ira texted me, and I said, I'll get back to him in a minute, and sure as day, I said, he's going to call me before I can text him back, and sure as day, Ira's calling me on the phone.
First thing he said was, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
I knew it. I knew it. You know, another quote that I really love, and I've seen a lot this week, and I don't usually see it a lot, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I love that. I love that. So I've spent, as you know, Ira, and as our audience is going to know, I spent most of last year taking a lot of shots in the dark.
Yeah.
You
definitely did.
I took big risks. Ira, why are you rolling your eyes at me?
I'm not rolling my eyes. You
You're rolling
took some
your
big
eyes at
fucking
me.
risks.
But they paid off, did they?
They're paying off.
Okay. So I love you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I shared it on social media yesterday. I fucking love this because, you know, we could get on the podcast every day and we can talk a good talk, but the point of the podcast is to actually live it. Like, Ira, I know you live the shit we talk about. I definitely live the shit we talking about. And I entice anyone that listens to not just say, oh, that's like a good topic. Like, I like this. I'm going to add this to my save folder. No, go put your phone down and put this shit to work. Make use of it. So anyway, last year took a lot of shots in the dark, and you know, I was worried. I was really concerned about where the year was going to take me. You know, from the very beginning of last year, January, my dad died in December, which was like, whoa, you know, because essentially that was
It was a hard hit.
Yeah. That was rough. That was something I didn't expect. No one expected it. And, you know, we had to deal with that. And, you know, essentially I became like the man of the house in my eyes, right? It was like, okay, dad died. Now it's like, you're going to wear the pants. And I know a lot of people can relate to that because, you know, we go through these like rite of passages in life and it's like, oh, and I was just talking to Nina about it, you know, I don't always have those moments of clarity where it's like everything just clicks. But if they happen just once in a while, even for a brief moment, that's all it takes. And I wish, you know, more people lived for those moments. But anyway, you do miss 100% of the shots you don't take because if you're not taking shots and taking risks and challenging yourself, what is your life? What's the point of living?
I mean, that's a great point.
Can you relate to that, Ira?
Absolutely.
How?
How can I relate to that?
Humor me.
Well, I mean, dude. I mean, I can relate to it not to the extent of, you know, the shots that you took, but I mean, I took some shots in the dark.
Yeah, I took a long shot. I took a long shot. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll dive into that with the relationship, should we?
Sure, why not?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the audience can handle some of those goods. And
Okay.
frankly, I don't know how to feel about attacking someone that's not here to defend themselves.
That's actually a great point.
Hey, look, if I'm gonna start shit, I want someone to, you know. So like, I'm not gonna like if I'm gonna talk smack about you, Ira, I'm gonna make sure you're sitting here to defend
That's honor.
yourself.
That's honor.
Yes, yes, of course. If you don't have those values in life, what is your life? If you just like wake up and go to the coffee maker and you fucking start your day and you just like nothing's going through your brain and you're just like going through the motions, what the fuck is your life? If you don't have honor, if you don't have trustworthiness and you don't have integrity and you don't have respect and all these different things, like what is life without those values?
It's not, I mean, it's a different life, dude. You know, it's, in my opinion, it's, you know, not a fulfilling life at all. You know, you're always thinking about what could have been.
What could have been. Yeah. Yeah. So I think my relationship with Danielle is definitely something that is certainly sensitive, a sensitive topic because I would not want to trash talk someone that is not here to defend themselves. But
we'll move on.
You know, yeah, you want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on from that.
I'm fine moving on from that. I'm good moving on. Totally.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm just not. I don't know if that's something I want to dive into.
All right, so let's talk about Anthony in the shower.
What? What goes on in the shower?
I don't know. TikTok knows.
You know, Ira, you brought that up to me on the phone earlier. You didn't elaborate too much. You're like, we're mutuals on TikTok, right? I'm like, what is this, 1960? Mutuals?
That from what I've learned so far, that is the correct term for a friend on TikTok.
Mutuals.
Yes.
I don't know, Ira. I got a new TikTok. So I'm thinking I'm going to need an organizational advisor for my personal life and my business because I can't keep track of shit.
Yeah, neither can I.
TikTok is one.
Like I've had to go on medication for this.
Well, poor Ira.
Mine's bad. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that shit. My shit's bad. I am the fucking worst when it comes to organization.
Why is that?
I don't have a solid answer. I know all the things I need to do to be organized, to stay organized, and remain organized.
But doing them is totally different.
Exactly. Like I don't know what. Like if it has to be somebody else's way, you know, my ODD comes out, my oppositional defiance disorder, where I just want to do the opposite.
I don't know, Ira. I've never seen that. You know, we worked together for quite a while, and you always seem to take my direction pretty seamlessly.
Well, you see, this was years of self-care. You know, I had to train myself to start listening to other people. But here's the thing: if I respect you, then I will listen to you. If I don't listen to you, like.
Duly noted. Once Ira stops listening to Tony, he no longer has respect for me. That's funny. That's good, Ira. So, compare yourself to who you are today, not to who someone else is yesterday. Does that mean anything to you?
Compare yourself to who he is today instead of who it was yesterday. And I mean,
you want me to read it to you again?
It goes back to a very similar point that we're making back in the beginning, you know, judging people, you know, based on the past.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. Judging people on their past, like,
And the crazy part is like a lot of people are very inclined to go right to that, like automatically jump to a judgment call. You know, either one, before they had all the facts, two, before they understood what was going on in the situation, or three, you know, who the person used to be, but completely overlooking that doesn't necessarily mean that's who they are now.
why are people so judgmental?
See, that's a question I ask a lot, you know, and I have to ask myself, why do I judge people? And you know, when I've confronted myself with that, you know, I came up with many different answers, but one that like really just stays with it. Kind of losing my thought right now. Where was I? Sorry, dude, but like this shit's acting up again.
The tendency of a person, Ira, is to avoid someone who is different than them. Okay, I think what you're saying is the tendency of a person is to judge people. Just inherent. I think it's just in our DNA to judge people. Like, you know, like I don't know.
Have you really ever dissected yourself to find out why you are judging? Because that's the root.
Yeah, I have. I think that's really daunting. I've taken some hard looks in the mirror and said, like, why am I so judgmental? Because I am extremely fucking judgmental. All right. And that's no one's fault except my own. I am extremely judgmental of people, which is weird because I'm also probably one of the most understanding individuals. Like for me, I'm unrealistic, man. You know, my expectations for the world around me is bizarre. It's absurd. It'll make you nauseous if you've seen some of my expectations. And frankly, I'm that way because those are the expectations I have for myself. And honestly, that's probably, I think, has a lot to do with why I judge people. And I will tell you, you need to very consciously be aware of that. You know, you have to be acutely aware of, you know, the fact that you are judging a person, because that goes right back to the story that I said in the beginning. You know, could you imagine letting those words roll out of your mouth and they hurt someone the rest of their fucking life? Could you imagine saying something that you don't think anything of and it sticks with someone until the day they're fucking dead in a negative way? Can you fucking imagine that?
One thing could have like completely changed somebody's whole life. One little thing.
I couldn't imagine that. And thank God I'm a bigger person because I got over that shit when I was younger. But again, it affected me for a lot of years. It made me feel like I wasn't adequate, man. You know, because I looked up to somebody and they were judgmental and they let their thoughts come out of their big mouth, and that affected me for a lot of years. And I cannot imagine in my wildest of dreams saying something, and that's why I'm always very acutely aware of the things that I am saying to people, because I don't ever want to affect someone in that way negatively.
Yeah.
Positively, I want you to remember everything. You better remember everything positive out of this fat mouth. But the negative shit, I don't want you to remember any of that, you know, because that doesn't come from a good place. That's a very ugly place, and people need to be very, very careful about where their mouth takes them in a conversation.
Yeah. You know, my mouth has gotten me in trouble in the past.
Ira, do you know who you're talking to, Ira? Your mouth?
Oh, yeah. I remember, I've kind of chimed into a few phone calls that heard someone's savory comments coming out, many different verbs and adjectives and pronouns all jumbled together.
You get very excited when you're trying to articulate very complex ideas to other individuals.
You motherfucker, get the fuck out of my way! That's real complex. I'll fucking kill you!
I can't be held liable for driving through New Jersey, okay? These people are trying to kill me, man.
Dude, Pennsylvania drivers aren't any better.
No, I can deal with them. They're like asleep at the wheel. They're like, they're just like driving. And I'm like, here I am, like, I'm like Mario Andretti coming through in my Honda, like, I'm just like cruising, like I'm driving in my Ferrari. I swear to God, I get in the Honda like I'm the fucking man. I don't know what it is.
I remember you used to before you were driving the Honda, when you were driving the Subaru. I remember you used to freaking fly past state troopers, and you went on like this high speed chase. You thought.
Yeah, I've been there a lot. The troopers don't exactly care for me for some reason. I've been
Well,
fortunate.
I mean, you and I could kind of figure that one out.
I am a little curious as to this year with the motorcycle, what they'll end up doing to me.
Well, they have faster bikes.
Yeah, but I don't see them on motor. I don't know, Ira. My bike's pretty fast.
No, you got a fast bike. But best believe, if you got a cop chasing you that's on a bike, that's his own bike. So he has that thing souped up to go faster than your bike.
Look, I would never elude the police. Okay. I would never.
I have. A lot of... It's very, very exhilarating.
Exhilarating. What about that? I mean, we could. I've watched a lot of.
Here's the thing: it's exhilarating in the process, the adrenaline rush. But as soon as you get caught, it's like fuck. You're like, damn, I regret all of it.
I don't know how many. That's great, because I don't know how many people can relate to eluding the police. So it's great that you can share your experience with us, Ira, so that we can live vicariously through you. All right, audience. So make sure you don't make those mistakes. Live vicariously through Ira, and that's that. Oh my goodness. Are you gonna get a motorcycle this year, Ira?
Well, COVID fucked that plan up, but
yeah,
that was what the plan was. But it's possible. I don't know. With everything how this year is kind of panning out into from one to the next, might put that on hold.
Yeah, it's weird, man. We're in a really weird time. Yeah, I will say, it is an extremely weird time in this world. I read a meme the other day, and it was someone writing from like the UK, and it pretty much said, "America, get your shit together." That's all it said. America, get your shit together. And I think there's something there, okay? Because if we all, like a colony of ants, if we could just all play our little parts in this colony, I think we could possibly get our shit together. Not to be,
definitely could,
right? It's possible, and I'm not talking like from a political standpoint, because frankly, I don't give a shit. This isn't about
here's
politics.
The thing. If we have an invasion, of fucking aliens and shit. Let's just say we have an invasion of aliens.
I'm following.
And they want to eradicate humans. Are everybody going to be worrying about what this fucking person said on this comment, this Twitter thing? Like, no, we're going to end up having to come together as humanity to fight something. So all of us can come together for a common cause, but it's going to take a fucking complete, world domination disaster in order for that to happen.
Do you think that has to happen for us to come together?
With the way shit's going now, yes.
That's too bad.
Unfortunately, that's the point we're at, because there's way too many people that are just hell bent on division. Completely hell bent on division and hate. And if you look at a business standpoint, division, hate generates money. It generates all types of revenue.
Seriously?
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to break that
violence
down for me.
You got movies, you got food, everything encompasses around, all the things that we do as people.
Emotion, essentially.
Yeah.
Things are based on emotion. I mean, everything is based on emotion. Maybe we just need to be a little bit more logical about the way we deal with things. I mean, yeah, hate and division has obviously run rampant in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I think people need to do a better job of just kind of staying in their lane.
Yeah.
I always see that one meme that calls $0 to stay in your lane. And it's true. It doesn't cost anything to go out and start your day and be a productive person in society, despite your downfalls. And if you hate, frankly, when I deal with someone who is displaying that kind of division and hate, it goes right back to before. It's all about character. This person must hate themselves. You know, what is going on in their head that makes them think it's appropriate to display this kind of behavior, which is ugly. It's so obviously ugly. And I hope for anyone's sake, you know, again, be careful what you say, because you never know who you're inspiring
or who you were affecting.
Yeah, you just don't know. Like, and to spread that hate and that kind of division, you are only adding to the problem. And really, you just need to do a better job of staying to yourself. I just stick to myself, Ira. I do my own thing.
I mean, thing is, though, is like, a lot of us need to get in touch with ourselves, you know, and I'm forever going to preach, you know, finding the root cause of why we act a certain way. Because once you identify where that came from, like really identify where it came from, that's where you can start repairing, you know. And
you've done a very good job.
It goes into our topic, you know, for who we were into who we are now.
Yeah.
You know,
you've done a very good job, Ira. I think the best way to put it is grabbing the bull by the horns.
It's the only way to do it.
I've worked with you closely, you know, pretty much since, you know, you've been home, and there was no challenge that you did not accept and did not try to overcome. There was nothing. I thought I knew a thing or two, and you just faced things like I've never seen it. And you know, as I'm talking, you know, to Will, who for anyone that doesn't know was my boss at GNC, and I'm talking to Gene, who was Will's boss at GNC. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's out of his mind. He will take any challenge. He will rise to any fucking occasion, and his loyalty is to a fault. It made no sense. It made absolutely no sense. I think it's something. I think you truly found I think the method to the madness for you was identifying what was going on, right?
Yeah, identifying what's going on, and then also, you know, staying on the right path, you know, making the right choices in that process, you know. And I mean, that goes far and wide, you know.
Yes,
I mean, that
it does.
goes towards, you know, the things you say to people. It goes towards how you react to other people's emotions. You know, it all speaks to, I mean, pretty much just anything, bro. Anything.
Yeah. It's a long journey when you're identifying what's going on, especially when you're dealing with your mental health, people. Nothing to fucking joke around with. I used to think, I said it to Nina yesterday. Yeah, I used to think mental health was a joke because I was always like mind over matter. I don't mind and you don't matter, yada, yada, yada. Not the case. Mental health is a fucking serious thing, and it's nothing to be joked about. And, you know, the journey for dealing with your mental health is Ira said it, far and wide. I mean, it is a long journey, and I've been there, you know, when I was younger and made those mistakes that I made, you know, rising from the ashes, if you will. Luckily, I made my mistakes when I was younger because they would have hurt me differently as I got older. But, you know, to rise up from the ashes, Ira, you hit it on the head, man. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that, because if you're dealing with anything, if you're dealing with addiction, I get it. It's probably like one day at a time. Like, how the fuck am I going to get over this? If you're dealing with abuse or a bad relationship and you're just like,
or all the above.
Yeah, if you're dealing with everything, some people are just inundated with just like madness. They have never been given a chance. But I also have to ask. I have to ask myself, are they giving themselves a chance to get out of those situations?
The answer is going to be no, because, and this comes from personal experience, because the answer is going to be no, because the thing is, though, and it goes back to identification. If you don't know how to identify the problem, how can you even fix something? Like, you wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah. It's tough, man. And I emphasize for people that can't identify those problems because, you know, I mean, last year I dealt with one big problem that couldn't be identified, and we won't go into that, but, you know, identifying that and figuring out what is going wrong. You couldn't fix anything because you didn't know what the hell was happening. You know,
Yeah.
it was a mess. How do you fix your life when it's a mess? How do you identify shit when it's a mess? How do you go to sleep when it's a mess? How do you wake up to a mess? You know, and I that's why I do ask myself, and I don't mean to sound insensitive, but I do have to ask myself because I've been in, you know, last year I was in a bad spot mentally, and I could have rolled over and gave up. I could have fucking rolled over and I could have said, this is it. This is my destiny. I'm done. You know, there were days I wanted to kill myself. There were days I truly just wanted it to be over with.
Yeah.
And I could have rolled over and said, fuck it. It wouldn't have been my problem. But I gave myself a chance. I had to. I could not just give up. It was not in my fucking brain to give up. And that's why I asked myself, like, and I hope it doesn't come off insensitive because I've been in a lot of positions over the years. So I feel pretty confident when I say, like, are we giving ourselves a proper chance at, Gesundheit.
COVID everywhere, COVID everywhere.
Gesundheit. Don't pass that. We only pass out love here, not COVID. Sorry, go home. But I do wonder about some people, you know, do they give themselves a chance? And if they're not giving themselves a chance, why? What? Even if there's the other side of that too, is maybe your circumstances are not bad at all, right? And your life is a breeze, but you've got more fucking problems than you can wrap your head around. Yeah. You know, you've got depression, you got PTSD, you got fucking OCD, ADD, you got whatever. You've got it all.
You just described me.
Check. I know, I'm sorry.
You went down my list.
I didn't do that on purpose, Ira. I'm sorry. I gotta stop doing that on the podcast. I seem to do that for some reason. It's like my memory just like grabs from the subconscious. I don't know why. Those are not, luckily, things that I deal with. I deal with different things like self-doubt and feeling inadequate. I have a different set of fucking problems. We all do. We have to emphasize for other people's problems. I don't have depression, but I know other people do. But I have to wonder about the people that have these perfect little lives. They grow up with perfect families and they have the perfect set of circumstances. I used to envy those people, you know, with the perfect family and the perfect job. And, you know, they played sports all throughout high school and they were the coolest, you know. I used to envy them. But frankly, they got fucking more problems than most people. Yeah. And I have to wonder how that happens and how does that get fixed? Does it get fixed? How does that even come about? Like, how is your life? Like, do you just get like to this point where you're on this pedestal that like you just snap? I don't know. I never had like this picture perfect. Okay. A few years back I did, but I didn't grow up with a picture perfect life to say like, oh, okay.
I don't think anybody did. Honestly, if you really think about it.
No one did, man.
Exactly.
Even the people with the perfect lives, they didn't have a picture perfect life.
Yeah.
How fucked up? You know, I always say the universe is always working for you, Ira. It's always doing something amazing.
One way or another.
It's always doing something amazing, and it's always doing something incredible. And Nina said it to me perfectly the one day. Anything that happens is right. It's right. It may not feel right, but it's fucking right. And you bring up a great point, you know, does anyone feel like they live that perfect life? Well, clearly not. If you grew up in a perfect household, right? A perfect household with great parents, how do you grow up to resent your family? How does that happen? You know, how do you grow up with all the opportunity in the world to honestly not seize any opportunity or care for any opportunity? I feel for people that are dealing with mental health, and I really do always question because, again, I was never one to roll over and give up and, you know, throw out my white flag. I don't believe you were that person either.
Nope.
And you know, I have to wonder, and I speak wholeheartedly, not for me, not for you, but for anyone that watches and feels like they relate to that. You know, are you really giving yourself, you, a fair fucking chance? Are you? Are you just talking about doing things and doing better and being better, or are you truly putting the work in that you hate? That you hate, but you know is gonna fucking make you good. You know it's gonna change the world. You know it. Knowing and doing are very different. What
Yeah,
do you got there, Ira? Show me the weasel the audience wants to see.
got little Brownie.
Brownie! Woo!
Brownie is a rescue. Brownie is a rescue.
Yeah,
We
Brownie! Woo!
we rescued him in Long Branch, and the people, they couldn't take care of him anymore. And do you want to know what they were going to do?
What?
They were going to release him into the wild if nobody took him.
What does a ferret do in the wild?
It does. It's not. It won't survive.
It
Like,
waits for a bald eagle to come
where
along?
these people's. I don't know where their thought process was, or what they were
Uh-huh.
thinking they were going to achieve.
Uh-huh.
But why not take it to a pet store? Like,
You know,
or an adoption agency. You know, like one of the pet adoption places.
yeah.
You know, like instead of sending out to the wild where it's going to fucking die, at least give it a chance at life.
Yeah, like who thought that was like a bright idea? Like who woke up and said, "Yeah, let's send him out into the forest today, guys." Like
I don't know, but one thing I can tell you about him is he loves his little arm cuddles.
Okay, so big question. The audience is wondering, does he need you as much as you need him?
Yep.
Fair enough. We'll take it.
And
We'll
we
take it.
understand each other.
You know, I didn't realize it until this last few months, okay? But love is not meant to be understood.
No.
It is not meant to be understood. And just getting divorced last year, you would think the last thing I was thinking of was fucking love. But that made me eager to find out what is love. And watching you with your ferret, and watching other people in their relationships over the last few months, I've realized that truly love does not make sense, and it is not meant to make sense. And you gotta love what you love, and that's that, because this is your life, and that's what makes sense. And Ira loves ferrets.
Yep. Got family of weasels.
How many do you have, Ira?
5.
What's their favorite hiding place in the house?
Oh, it's not their favorite hiding place. This is just their place now. The silverware drawer. They literally commandeered it. They took it. They figured out how to get into it from underneath the bottom cabinet. The bottom cabinet's their little hiding spot where I find all types of stuff. Remote controls, batteries, rocks, G.I. Joe figures, plastic shark, anything rubber, Jess's cane. Yes, a walking cane.
A whole goddamn cane?
I have videos of this.
We'll have to post them on the YouTube channel so people believe what you're saying.
I mean, I was thinking about starting a ferret TikTok ferret thing.
You'd be very popular. I've yet to see a ferret talk on TikTok.
Oh no, there's ferret talk. I subscribe to about 10 of them.
Well, you have ferrets, so you probably went looking for them. I did not.
Well, I definitely encourage it.
No, I try not to be on TikTok. I have a really hard time with wasting time.
You see, I had a hard time wasting time also. Like, this was like one of the hardest things for me to do, to just sit my ass still and shit. But, you know, in the bad situation, I'm looking at it glass half full, and I have an opportunity, you know, to get in front of a few things, you know, sit, think, calm, cool, collective.
How's it feel?
And it feels good, you know, like, aside of feeling like shit, you know, I feel good, you know, because I had a rest, you know, since I've been home the last 2.5 years, you know, it's been nonstop. Like, I have been on this fucking roller coaster, you know, and it's like literally been nonstop, and like, you know, I'm burning out, like, so at least, you know, COVID gave me some time to just fucking, you know, relax, because, you know, I was going through some shit, you know, so I was going through some real serious mental stuff, and, you know, I was in front of it, well, getting in front of it after identifying that it was becoming a fucking problem. You know, now I'm at the repair process, and COVID couldn't have come at a better time. I needed it.
You know,
So
I have some concerns about that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I hate that you have to be dying to get some you time. That drives me fucking crazy. You literally need to be dying of COVID to have Ira time, to get back to your roots and get back to just, sometimes you just have to be still, right? You just have to be there and exist. And, you know, I heard it this last week. Sometimes in order to be extremely productive, you have to not be productive at all. And that's hard for me because I'm a workaholic, but it's too bad that you have to be sick to get some self-care, some self-care time in. That's ridiculous.
It is what it is, man. You know, when you have a life, family, career, all that, you know, all that comes first.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that puts a lot of people in precarious positions because I couldn't agree more. Your life, your family, your career. I mean, your family. I could talk for the next month about family. Family is the most important part of everything I do, and connections, and you know, everything. Family is forever. That's it, right? So it puts you in a precarious position though, when you do need some time for yourself, because you're burning the candle at both ends, and you're bound to crash and burn. And you said it, you know, you had to identify some things that were going on, and like you were there for me last year, because I had more bad days than probably anyone last year. I think I had all of my bad days inside of last year, enough for like the next 5 years. So I think I'm set. I think I'm set for the next couple years. But family first, man, all day, every day. But again, you know, how do you make that time for yourself when maybe you're spinning out of control? You know, we've had a lot of.
It makes you take a real deep dive. It makes you really take a look at things, and it definitely puts a lot of things in perspective. You know, and I mean, we're nearing our time, and we got some good material to start up for next week.
Yes, we do. Hey, you know, sometimes I wonder how's an hour go by like that fast?
I mean, time flies when you're having fun, man.
I think you're just jerking me around, and you're just saying it's our time to we're done. Show me the counter, Ira. I need to see this. I'll be damned. Wow, right on the money. Well, you heard it first. Ira, what are your closing thoughts about this? I mean, we touched on some pretty deep shit, man. You know, who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. That's some heavy shit anyone can relate to. You know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Mental health awareness, the past, the future, the now, self-care. What do you got? Any closing thoughts for the audience?
Well, my closing thoughts are simple. You know, instead of looking at a person for who they were, take a look at who they are now, and let that be the reflection that you're looking at. You know, let that be the person that, you know, you make a judgment about, or not make a judgment, but just see them for who they are and accept them. You don't have to be friends with somebody. You don't have to go a long distance in life, you know, but if you accept their existence, you know, like it somewhat removes a lot of the judgmental aspects, because, all right, it's great. You're another person. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's hard to view that, you know, but it might be hard to view it like that way. But if you practice it little by little, it becomes you. And you're not perfect at it. No one can ever be perfect at it. But as long as you try, that's where you're going to be ahead of everybody else, because you're actually doing something about it.
The way you do anything is the way you do everything, Ira. And, you know, my closing thoughts for anybody is exactly that, exactly what Ira just said, and exactly the advice I would give to Ira, and I hope Ira would give to me. You know, whether you're dealing with a stranger or someone you're close with, it be in the past or in the future, you treat that person with some fucking dignity and respect. It doesn't matter where they came from, where you came from, because you want to take a hard look at someone else, you need to take a hard look at yourself first.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to start throwing stones? Don't throw stones. If you live in glass houses, been hearing it my whole damn life. And that's a hard thing to do, but vision is the ability to see the invisible. And I hope a lot of people can do just that. And just daily interactions with people, make sure that you're just treating people with some respect. And no matter what, because you never know who you're inspiring when you're talking. You just don't know.
Yep.
So with that being said, Ira, it is always a pleasure. If you guys have not subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, make sure you go subscribe. We put a lot of work into these podcasts. We put a lot of thought into them. They mean the world to us. We would not be doing it if it did not mean the world to us. And if you don't already, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you have some ideas for topics that you want to hear us discuss, yeah, why not? I mean, we are for the people. If we're not doing for the people stuff, how for the people can we be, Ira?
Well, I mean, we need to start getting some comments sent here.
Well,
I mean, that's the only way we're really gonna, get anything from our viewers.
Well, you heard it first, guys. Ira wants comments. Ira wants feedback. Ira wants to know what is going on in your heads. If you guys missed this, make sure to check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to check out the full episode. And if you find it relatable, give us a thumbs up. Check the notification so you never miss an episode. Ira, as always a pleasure. I enjoy this far too much. Sometimes it breaks my achy, breaky heart to go. But until next week, folks, we'll see you then. All right.